What's up YouTube? Before this video starts, I just posted on my Patreon a day in the life of Regice of the Matrix. If you want to go check it out and directly support me, it's going to be in my link tree. That's on my YouTube channel. Salutations. God bless everyone. Hope you all doing well. Let's go over all the counters for 3 new Shadow Legendary Pokemon that are going to be coming to Pokemon Go. I feel like these are really important to go over today, just so you're fully prepared for when they come out. So we're going to go over all the counters, and then at the end, I'll give you the dates on when these Pokemon are going to be coming into raids. So we're going to start off with Regice. Shadow Regice in specific is going to be coming to Pokemon Go. Now, there's a million different weaknesses for it. Fighting, 1.6 weakness. Rock has 1.6 weakness. Same thing for Steel and Fire. So Regice has a lot of counters. So it should be quite simple. If you don't have some of the top Pokemon that I'm going to tell you in this video, you can use Fighting, Rock, Steel, or Fire types. However, I'm going to give you the top ones just so you can do these raids as fast as possible. Also note, Shadow raids cannot be remote raided. Unfortunately, with remote raids, you can only do Pokemon raids that are not Shadow exclusive, if that makes sense. You can't do remote raids for Shadow. However, we're going to go over all the top counters, and a lot of people should have these. In matter of fact, we should be able to get the best Pokemon during a event coming soon, which I talked about in this video from yesterday. So first Pokemon is Duskmane Necrozma with Metal Claw and Sun Steel Strike. Now, this is the #1 Pokemon to use against Regice. Now, I made a video talking about when this is going to be coming back to Pokemon Go. If you need to go check it out after this video, I highly recommend it. Now, that Pokemon is insanely good, and I always highly recommend having at least one of those. And I've heard you've been able to get multiple of them. If you have multiple Socoleos and you have enough Necrozmas and enough Necrozma candies to be able to make a Duskmane Necrozma, you can have more than one. However, a lot of people don't have either enough candies for it, or they don't have a second Socoleo. However, it is possible to have multiple of those, and I say that because this is the best counter for it. Now, I will say as well that Registeel has been the easiest one to take out, which we'll go over a little bit later. However, Regice has been one of those ones where it's not that easy to take down, as I'm meaning you need to have more than 3 people to take this counter down, which I would recommend a good 4 to 5. With being able to easily take it down, you still could do it with 3. However, the biggest thing out of all is you need to use Purified Gems. If you don't use Purified Gems, then you're going to need 7, 8 players that, combinedly use the Purified Gems. Because when a Shadow Pokemon, when you raid them, they have a rage effect that they don't take as much damage, and the fact that they do more damage. So, highly recommend having a bunch of people for the raids. I've definitely been able to do Shadow raids in the past with 3 people, even 4, more comfortably 4. However, you need Purified Gems, so make sure you get Purified Gems, which you can do that through the Team Grunt Pokestops. So, and from doing also Shadow raids as well. So they're pretty easy to get. You just have to grind the Team Grunt. #2 is Mega Lucario. Mega Lucario's amazing. It's kind of glazed, I'm not gonna lie. That's my favorite Pokemon in Pokemon Go is Lucario. So I, of course, have a bunch from the Mega Lucario day. It is a great Pokemon to have and highly recommend it. #3 is Mega Charizard. Now, if you don't have Mega Lucario, might as well go for it. It's not a bad idea, because it might Mega Boost some of the other Pokemon we're going to talk about later. Same thing for Mega Lucario. It's going to boost some of the Pokemon that we're going to talk about later. Mega Blaziken is #4 with Fire Spin and Blast Bird, which that's the same attacks Charizard had, if you weren't too clear, because I didn't say it. However, Mega Blaziken is a good Pokemon to have, so I highly recommend you have at least a little bit of candies for it, just in case you run out of Mega Charizard candies for a Mega of some sort. Shadow Metagross is #5 with a Steel type attack. Metagross is always a great Pokemon to have. Obviously, Meteor Mash being the main attack you want to use, but Bullet Punch is the fast attack you're going to want to have for Metagross. Mega Heracross being #6, Terrakion being 7, Shadow Conkeldurr being 8, Reshiram being #9, and Mega Diancie at 10. As well as their stuff kind of thrown in there: Shadow Charizard, Shadow Ho-Oh, Metagross, normally Shadow Moltres, Shadow Machamp, but what I'm seeing the most out of everything is Fighting or Fire type. Now, because there's not really any Mega Steel types as of right now. However, what I would fully recommend for you to do if you're fighting Regice is to use a Fighting type Mega. So, obviously, Necrozma Duskmane is the #1, so use that first. And then kind of base your stuff around either you stick to fire or fighting. Just because if you boost, you have your mega boost of Lucario, which is a fighting type, it's going to boost to other Pokemon, which is just going to be more helpful rather than if you use a mega Lucario fighting type and then just use a bunch of fire types. It's wasting the mega boost. If you want to be as maximum as possible, make sure you do that. Shadow Registeel is also going to be coming out. Now, the best thing for Registeel, it is also weak to fighting. It's also weak to fire, but the big difference is it is weak to steel. And like I've said before, Registeel has always been a Pokemon that's been pretty easy to take down normally. So I'm going to go over the best counters for Registeel with number 1, Mega Lucario. Who would have thought? Now, at first, it's going to sound similar to the second one, but then there's a couple more Pokemon didn't really expect to see right here, with number 2 being Mega Charizard with Fire Blast and Blast Burn, Mega Blaziken being number 3, pretty normal, but big changes here with Primal Groudon being number 4, and the big reason is for the ground type attack Mudshot, and I don't know how to say it, a Precise Blade, hopefully I said that right, not the best reader, dyslexic, you know, but Primal Groudon is pretty good to use, and I don't know if you can Primal and Mega. Kind of a noob thing to say. I'm not too sure. However, if you want to use Primal Groudon, it's a really hard-hitting Pokemon if you don't have something like Mega Lucario, which, of course, Mega Lucario would be the best to use. Shadow Heatran being number 5. This was recently in Giovanni bosses, and if you haven't done a Giovanni boss, I believe it hasn't changed as of yet. So if you have your Super Rocket Radar, you should be able to get a Shadow Heatran, because Shadow Heatran is a really good fire attacker in raids. I highly recommend it because this is one of the only times you're ever going to be able to get Shadow Legendary Heatran for a while until it comes into raids, but we have no ounce of evidence of it coming to raids anytime soon. Number 6, Shadow Chandelure. Now this, honestly, didn't know you could get Shadow, but you can 100% can get this as a Shadow Pokemon. It is pretty decent. Even the normal one, I would highly recommend as well. Just because, like I've said, even though Shadow Pokemon are better, I always say this, Shadow Pokemon obviously are better in raids. However, if you need to have the normal version will still work. Just Shadow works a little bit better. So if you can get a Shadow version of the Pokemon we're talking about, that will work. Shadow Groudon being number 7. Unfortunately, I missed out on my Shadow Groudon, so hopefully you guys have one because they are really good and do not purify your shadows. Number 8, Mega Garchomp. This is a really good one, and it would give you a mega boost for some of the ground types we just talked about, like Groudon. So, you know, just keep in mind when you mega boost that you can boost other Pokemon in the rating of the lobby, if that makes sense, like your Pokemon lobby. Number 9 being Shadow Blaziken with Fire Spin and Blast Burn, but it's Shadow Blaziken, so I don't know. Like it's decent, but there's other Pokemon I'm going to talk about that I think are really good and pretty underrated. Blacephalon, kind of crazy to say, but because it has an Incinerate and Mystical Fire. It's a fire type attacker, pretty decent. Pretty surprised to see an Ultra Beast, but Shadow Darmanitan. I've seen Shadow Darmanitan. I've actually used it in Great League, and it's worked out pretty well, surprisingly. You can let me know if it somehow works for you. However, I know Shadow Darmanitan is a pretty good Pokemon to have, and it's good for many other things. Same thing for Shadow Moltres, but if you don't have those counters I just said, normal Lucario will work, normal Reshiram, Shadow Conkeldurr, Shadow Ho-Oh, Shadow Machamp, Shadow Excadrill, Shadow Henday, Shadow Entei. Bunch of Pokemon that are insanely good. Sorry if I mess up a little bit of words. It's midnight. However, there's one more Pokemon I'm going to go over before I go to bed, and that is Regirock. Regirock has the most weaknesses out of all of them, but will I say, I think personally, out of all 3 shinies, Shadow Regirock looks the best. The weaknesses for Shadow Regirock is fighting, ground, steel, water, and grass. That leaves it for literally half the Pokemon in Pokemon Go you can use. However, we're going to go over the top 10 best counters as well, with most of them being pretty similar, but after the top 3, they're going to change. Number 1, Duskmane Necrozma. We've already said how good this Pokemon is. Make sure you have one. Number 2 is Mega Lucario with Force Palm and Aura Sphere. Primal Groudon number 3. Big Bomb Drop, Primal Kyogre at number 4 with Waterfall and Origin Pulse. Now, through the wild area event, we got Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre. Hopefully, you were able to get those raids. I mean, we even had the setting to where you could literally piggyback off of other raids as long as you have remote raid passes. That was the coolest thing Pokemon Go has ever done. Hopefully do that again. Shot and Hydro Cannon. I mean, if you need one, you can. Same thing, Mega Sceptile is pretty decent with Furry Cutter and Frenzy Plant. Shadow Kyogre with Waterfall and Origin Pulse. Just the same attacks as Primal Kyogre. Shadow Groudon, number 9. And number 10 being Mega Garchomp. But there is these same counters you can also use, including Shadow Machamp, Normal Metagross, Mega Blaziken, Shadow Garchomp, Mega Heracross. I mean, there's Kartana, there's Shadow Venusaur, there's Shadow Hariyama. I mean, there is so many counters for this Pokemon. But what would I recommend for you during this in Pokemon Go? Shadow Regirock is a rock type. So if you are doing, or if you're planning on trying to raid these Pokemon, this is what you have to know. You want to have your entire lobby mega boosted as much as possible. And again, you want to do the most damage as possible. So from a post on what I see, it says December 3rd to March 4th. Shadow Raids is Registeel, Regirock, and Regice. I'll make an update as a YouTube short on specific dates on when it's coming. And more than likely, I'll try and do it as quick as possible when they come out. Because as of right now, I just see this and it doesn't really give me specific dates. But as we know from past Shadow Raids, they always are on the weekend. So if you're looking for any of the 3 and you don't really care about a specific, just look up raids for the weekend. And I will just try and keep up with that. But you can also keep up with the YouTube channel because I'll make sure to keep you updated. So God bless. Jesus loves y'all. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you on the next one.